How is everybody doing? It's Wednesday, April 21st, and you're tuned in to THHoopers, Jameer Nelson's favorite basketball podcast. I'm here with Josh Rhodes.
Hello.
And George Martin.
Hi.
You all right there, George?
Yeah, I'm fine.
We got a good show for you guys. Recap. Decent few days of ball. Georgia's halftime, which is injury riddled, and ended off. We're going to give our greatest all-time 12-man roster. Just best fit in honor of Katie giving his.
It's not greatest. It's what you want your top 12 to be, actually.
Oh, well, Mickey Mouse top 12.
George is a little bit upset about that category.
It's a little bit raw in the brain. Yeah,
Someone didn't define the instructions, and Josh went psycho with it. So.
Oh, all right. Well, remember, if you'd like what you make sure to check our socials, Instant Twitter at THHoopers. Drop a comment anywhere for giving us support. Again, Frankie the Ace. Stop making fun of us, but you will keep getting a shout out every time you drop a comment. Monday, April 19th, Pistons beat the Cavs 109-105. Bulls beat a shorthanded Celtics team 102-96. Spurs beat the Pacers 109-94. Heat beat the Rockets 113-91. Wizards beat the Thunder 119-107, another classic Wizards win. And Jazz beat the Lakers 111-97. First game we're going to talk about here is Steph Curry and the Warriors pulling off an upset against the Sixers, final 107-99. No Simmons or Toby for the Sixers, and the Warriors took full advantage of the lack of perimeter defense by canning almost half their threes, mostly because Steph had 10 of them. Steph also had 49 in this one, continuing his tear, while Embiid had 28 in the loss. George, thoughts on this one and Steph Curry?
Yeah, Steph was absolutely phenomenal. I was catching the end of this game, and I mean, he was just making everything. And an interesting strategy on the offensive end, they ran high pick and rolls, which they weren't doing that a lot, especially when Wiseman was healthy. So, maybe now that unfortunately he's out for the year, it seems like they're going to run that a little bit more with Kevon Looney at the 5. And he was playing pretty well defensively on Embiid too. I mean, Embiid shot 8 for 21. A lot of his points came from the line. But yeah, that's what I noticed the most. And Warriors, I mean, I guess I should say Steph. What? Did I miss something?
You cut out. I thought you stopped talking.
No, I'm here. Yeah, Steph has been ridiculously hot. He's basically going on his 2006 Kobe stretch right here. But they're going to make the playoffs because of the play-in now. And
I can see the parallels there.
Yeah.
Josh.
Guys, stop saying people are playing good defense on Joel Embiid because they're fouling him. He almost had a triple-double as a point center.
21. 8 for 21 when you're 7 feet tall and you're guarded by Kevon Looney and Draymond Green.
Looney was doing good, and Josh.
I'm with George on this one.
A lot of those fouls are because of him, I'm not gonna say foul baiting, but he kind of
Kevon Looney.
Mickey Mouse whistles. Is that what
No, him being Kevon Looney is the reason he got so many fouls. Steph was abusing his brother. Oh my gosh. Twitter was having a field day with that. Not too much from Philly side because they're missing a lot of good pieces. George Hill did make his appearance and sucked. It was not pretty, but I think he needs a couple more games to ramp up, but he'll be fine for them. He'll be good for them come playoff time, a good spark plug off the bench. But, I mean, I don't know. This is Steph Curry went lights out. I think Philly still had a good chance to win this game. They were up pretty decently near the end of the period, and the Warriors just went on that 16-4 run or something like that, and they kind of
16-4 exactly in the final 3:33.
They blew the game out of the water, but they were in contention for the game for the most part. And this is again one of those games where it's like they kind of let it slip from them. This has kind of been a trend we've been seeing this season, and even in the bubble when they got swept by the Celtics, they were up in the fourth quarter for I think 3 of those games. So I don't know. Maybe that's an issue. Maybe they're just kind of running out of steam. Hopefully that doesn't translate into come playoff time, but.
We'll see. The perimeter is lacking defensively and offensively just because no Toby or Ben. So that's where I kind of saw it lacking here.
Yeah.
Kevon Looney, 15 boards. I mean, that's pretty solid.
It was providing a good spark that they haven't had from their centers a lot this year. So that's interesting to see.
Well, he is the reason they haven't had that spark. So
I hate Kevon Looney so much.
Hey, why are we playing UCLA boys?
Steph Curry MVP chances. I want to hear him.
Of winning, I don't think it's high, but I definitely think he's going to finish in the top 3. So I don't know what you want me to say, percent chance.
Just because Joker's going to run away with it?
With one of George's halftime topics, I think Steph has a good shot at top 3. I don't think he's going to win it.
I'd say a 30%, 40% chance, I guess. I don't know.
You have a vote. Who are you voting for, Dame or Steph?
Steph.
Josh?
What? Dame.
Nah.
No CJ?
The thing
No
is,
CJ or Nurk
No-
for most of the year, and they're
No
still,
anyone?
okay, but
higher?
I mean, also they came back and were together and healthy, and they didn't make up any ground against the Lakers, who were missing two of their superstars. They've been sitting at 6 for a while, and I mean,
the Warriors
the
have been
Warriors
sitting
are
at
ninth.
10th.
The Warriors are
9-10.
Dame playing without CJ or Nurk is what Steph deals with every single night.
Well,
And with
yeah,
a coach
and
that
he
doesn't
was
know how
able
to
to be a
coach their number
5th,
two
6th
pick.
seed instead of a 9th, 10th seed.
I mean,
By that logic, Dame just did better.
Josh, I get what you're trying to say, but I feel like this year, out of all the years, I don't know if like seeding and record, unless you're at the very, very bottom of the league, I feel like it's a lot different. And a guy
So
like Steph,
now it's an issue.
well, nobody's been
Because
available. I mean, you look at the top MVP frontrunners; they've all fallen down multiple weeks with injury. He's been available outside of the 1 week he was missing with his tailbone, so I feel like they would reward availability. Jokic hasn't missed a game; that's why he's kind of the front runner. Right
Dame
now.
hasn't missed a game.
He's missed the last.
He's
3
missed
games,
multiple.
actually.
Oh,
he's been out.
oh, you know what? That's right. That's right. I even brought that up as a point. That's my bad.
We're going to breeze past that. Suns and Bucks need an extra 5 minutes to determine a winner. And in the end, the Suns got a good win against a healthy Bucks team, 128-127. Booker had 24 but struggled shooting, while CP3, Bridges, and Ayton joined him with over 20 each. Bucks big three of Giannis, Middleton, and Drew combined for 84, but the lack of bench help really showed again in this one. Giannis exited in overtime, so that's kind of where I saw it go downhill.
Yeah.
They put I think Pat Connaughton in for him, and he wasn't no Giannis, so that was kind of tough. But who wants to start us off here? Just giving thoughts on this one. Really good game.
I guess I'll take it because it was actually my look ahead from last episode. There was a little bit of controversy at the end of the game. PJ Tucker was called for a foul on Devin Booker as he was time was expiring. Didn't really look like he hit him. Kind of looks like a call you kind of let go, but nonetheless, the game winner came on a free throw by Devin Booker. But something interesting I saw in the fourth quarter, Bucks were up double digits with about 8 minutes. Kind of looked like they were about to run the game off. And Phoenix comes out in a zone. And then they also doubled Giannis. And it was an interesting defensive strategy to adjust there in the fourth. And it kind of riled up the Bucks that caused them to lose the lead. And they couldn't really score. So, I mean, it's back to, scheming defensively against the Bucks. And it's unfortunately been working, since the last year's playoffs and the year before. And like I said, they also doubled him. And Bucks defense, underwhelming again. They gave up a lot of open, easy baskets at the rim, a lot of open three-pointers. It's been the story of their season, like I've said. So that's really what it's going to come down to playoff time, how they defend and how Yanni reacts to whatever's thrown at him defensively.
Josh, anything to add there?
No, but they started Dario Saric. Has that been a trend for them? Because I know Jay Crowder still gets the majority of the minutes, but I was not sure.
Jay normally starts. It's normally Ayton, Jay, Bridges, and then there's
Yeah.
I'm going to look to see how long that's been going on for.
Because I quite honestly don't mind that as much as long as Jay Crowder gets more minutes, because I know Dario can come in and kind of put like 10, 15 on the board for them at any given point. He's kind of like an offensive spark, and sometimes they need that to start. But I would prefer Jay Crowder finishing the games, which I think that was the rotation that they had at the end. Yeah, I think another thing, kind of Chris Middleton seemed like a little bit too passive. He started the overtime not well, but toward the end he's making his shots, and I don't know. That's we've kind of knocked on Middleton so much for that, just not filling in the position when Giannis is getting triple teamed or when he's not there. That's just been an ongoing thing. Kind of why they got Holiday, so kind of disappointing still.
George, did you do your research?
So yeah, for the past 15 games, they had that starting lineup with Jay Crowder in it, and this game was Saric. So Phoenix
they have my man Dario guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I mean, they're trying to figure out something, how to stop it.
Maybe they're trying to keep him out of the paint. That might be a big thing because Dario's more of a floor spacer, and having Giannis stay in the paint, I don't know. But Jay Crowder also doesn't do that, so who knows?
Jay Crowder also didn't respond well coming off the bench, 3 for 11. Well,
he's
sorry. Well, Sario 1 for 7. So maybe
Sario?
Dario
maybe
1 for
don't-
7.
Offensively, not
Sario,
great, but
but I mean, isn't this why they kind of got Holiday as a secondary playmaker to stop the wall from happening? And the wall with Miles Bridges it's Mikal. I always get it wrong. Mikal Bridges. And this time Dario Saric is not going to be as good as the wall of Ben Simmons and Toby and Drew Holiday and Joel Embiid.
They scored.
I don't think they need a wall. I think they have one guy as the wall.
They scored
It's
enough.
Ben Simmons.
They scored enough. They put up
One
enough
guy.
points. It was the defense that was not working because they were able to score even with the defensive adjustments. It was their own defense that couldn't stop the Suns.
Well, 1 of 7 and 3 of 11 says otherwise. And so is Devin Booker's horrific shooting performance. Or not horrific, but bad, I would say.
I mean, both teams shot 48%, so I think the defense was kind of the issue here. To end this off, though, random thing, Chris Paul now passes Magic Johnson for 5th all-time on the leading assist leader. It's looking like he might be able to catch everyone but Stockton.
No, I don't think anybody's catching Stockton.
Do you think he'll finish second? Because it looks like he's going to be playing for a while here. I know Mark Jackson and Steve Nash are like 5 assists apart, so he'll probably pass them in the same game, but he has, I believe, Kidd up next.
Kidd's second.
Kidd second?
Well, you said you felt like
I think Kidd's 4th.
Kidd.
He's going to pass.
Kidd's 4th, then Mark Jackson, then Steve Nash. And then
Let me
Stockton,
look
obviously,
it
with
up for you.
15,000.
Yeah, so Stockton's 15, Kidd's 12, Nash and Mark Jackson are 1 assist apart.
One assist, yeah.
I think he could get to second. So he can definitely get Nash by next season. Maybe even do they no, I don't think this season.
He's got 200 assists, no way.
Yeah. Definitely by next season. Kidd is at almost 2,000, so I don't know.
I think he stays at 3.
He'll be
He
top
stays
3
at
for
3?
sure.
Fair enough. Moving on, game of the night was probably the Grizzlies Nuggets, and they need an extra 10 minutes to see who would get the W. And after a Jokic Rainbow 3, Nuggets come out on top, 139-137. Jokic had 47, 15, and 8, and was joined by Silly Willie Barton and MPJ in the scoring column as they both had over 25. Grizzlies put up a fight without Dylan Brooks and Valanciunas, and obviously no JJJ. But John's 36 wasn't enough to overcome, losing the rebound battle by 11. Nuggets have won 3 in a row without Murray. Like I mentioned, Jokic for MVP?
Yeah, that's been my pick actually for a while now. You know, I said that even in the early season. But yeah, I think there's going to be a stretch upcoming where he can run away with it, especially if he's available, still producing like this.
Josh.
He looks like a leader. He's played the most games, and I kind of can't really ignore the elephant
you want
in the
it.
room. I think he's the leader for the award right now. But also at the same time, did they really need 10 minutes? I mean, their starting center was Xavier Tillman. I think he's played like a collective 15, 20 minutes. Like, there's no reason for them. Ja Morant almost ended the game over Nikola Jokic. We would have
Ja Morant was their only source of offense in overtime. It was very hard to watch.
I mean, like this shouldn't.
And he was
be,
playing
like,
well, but
this game shouldn't have been as close.
Anthony Melton, 40 minutes.
15 steals for the Grizzlies as a team. That's rather impressive, I would say. They really kept the game within reach because of how good they were, I think, defensively and getting those turnovers. But at the same time, it just looks like the big 3. Will Barton came up big for them also. I know we're going to highlight Nikola Jokic's thing, but Will Barton needs to kind of step up offensively because Jamal Murray's absence, and he did just that. But I don't think this is a game that should have the Nuggets. This is kind of more of like one of their lower wins because even though it's a double overtime thriller, this with the way the Grizzlies roster is right now, shouldn't have been 2 overtimes.
George, any problem with Josh kind of pointing out one of the Nuggets one of their worst wins? You could say because a win is a win, but you saw what the Grizzlies put out, like D'Anthony Melton. 40 minutes.
Okay, don't disrespect my man D'Anthony Melton.
I know he's good.
The Crespy
clamp guard.
I mean, yeah, a little bit concerning, sure, but in a season like this, you're gonna take it. MPJ has definitely looked like a guy who can be a second leading scorer on your team, even though Lehman said opposite. right when Murray went down.
I said a title team. I don't want MPJ this year be my second scorer. Hell no.
He will be eventually. I think he needs another year.
Not this season, especially if they match up with the Lakers in the first round.
But Jokic was incredibly clutch. It looked like an MVP performance when I was watching it. So very, very nice to see.
Well, yeah, that was Monday. Pretty solid. We got three periods of overtime, so that wasn't bad. Tuesday, April 20th, 420. Goggle Trey and the Hawks beat the Magic 112-196. Knicks beat the Hornets 109-94 in a game that puts 3 games between them in the standings. And the Bulls beat the Kings 134-120. D'Lo again, 28 points in 24 minutes off the bench on 10 for 13 shooting. Is this guy just going to be Jamal Crawford, or is he going to get back starting lineup eventually in his career?
Next year, they're going to put him back in the starting lineup.
Nets and Pelicans linked up, and the Nets used the 41-point fourth quarter to hold onto their lead and beat Zion 134-129. Nets were missing a lot of guys, including KD, Harden, Ty Johnson, who normally steps up in these games where they have no one, and then Nick Claxton as well. So DeAndre Jordan got some run here.
And LaMarcus Aldridge.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Kyrie's 32, as well as the next minute mentality that allowed them to have 7 players in double figures, was the key to Tuesday's win. Zion had 33 in the L. Don't talk about the Pelicans. Want to talk about the Nets here. This was my look ahead, so I'll get us started. Kyrie looked good here. And, I saw, one of those, stupid things on Instagram where it's like anonymous GM says, they say the Nets are easier to guard with all 3 of their players, they think, all 3 of their stars because of the spacing. I don't agree with that, but I think the Nets are still I don't think there's a huge gap between Nets with 1 or 2 of their stars and Nets with all 3 of their stars. I think this team knows how to play when they have one guy that knows what he's doing. That was Kyrie this game, and he played really, really well. Also, towards the end, I know George will like this. Do you know what happened at the end of this game, George?
No, I wasn't watching.
So last game, Pelicans play the Knicks. They're up by 3. They don't foul.
Yeah.
The Nets fouled twice up by 3. And in the last
Steve
20
Nash is a
seconds.
believer. Good for him.
Steve Nash fouled. Ingram, the first time they fouled him, the first time they fouled, it was about 20 seconds left. The Pelicans down by 3. They make both the free throws. That's a free throw game. They foul Kyrie. He makes both. They foul Ingram with about 10 seconds left. He misses one of them. So then that's the game.
The analytics literally support it. I don't know why more coaches do this. It's so smart, and it draws out the game, and there's a chance someone misses a free
and ruins it.
Yeah, it's not fun. I don't know why you as a fan like it so much, George, unless you're trying to
win the game. I respect it.
Unless you're trying to get on the coaching staff. But
checkers, not chess, as you say.
Well, that coaching staff is kind of stacked. Not playoff-wise, but for regular season wins, it's pretty stacked. Anything you guys really saw here? I don't want to talk about the Pelicans, but you guys can. TNT Pelicans let me down.
Can I talk about the Pelicans?
You can talk about the Pelicans.
I don't think I think this is it. I told you last pod. I said.
Oh, you think it's it? They're out of the 10th spot by 4 games.
4 games.
It's done. It's been done.
It's done. No, I said last time if they lose this with the Nets being as stripped of players as they are, I said I'd probably finish it. So I'm maxing their playing odds right here. Let's
hear that, New Orleans. George's cut ties.
George is pissed off.
But yeah, Brooklyn side just getting out another win without their stars. It's been the tail of their season, and I have to do it for a little bit more, as we'll get into later.
Just I'll go through the box score, get some appreciation here. Joe Harris 24, Uncle JG 15, Landry Shamet 18 in this one after scoring 30 last game. He's just good, and then Blake Griffin 16, Bruce Brown 11 and 11. This team goes on and on and on as far as depth goes. I might have to switch over from the Clippers. This might be the deepest team in the league. I said that just now. I said that just now, actually.
Oh, he's gatekeeping.
No, George, this is what front running is. You could finally use it correctly.
You're front running from me. Nice.
Oh my God. Okay. Anything else to add from Nets Pelicans?
Nah.
Oh my gosh. Thank goodness they took Eric Bledsoe out. -11. I hate to use a George stat, but oh my God.
Front running Josh.
Eric Bledsoe should not be a part of this team.
So
He
why
really
did you tell him to
shouldn't.
use front running? Now he's just going to keep using
Oh
it.
my God! All right, last game of the recap. Pretty short recap here. Clippers and Blazers were both short-handed, but still gave an entertaining game. Final 113-112. PG had 33 in the starring role again without Kawhi, and CJ McCollum had 28 without Dame. Pretty fundamentally sound game between the two squads. They combined for only 16 turnovers combined. What did you see from this one, George? Especially Paul George towards the end there.
Yeah, Paul George was actually driving a lot and finishing inside, which is something he really hasn't done all season, and the Clippers as well, which bodes well for them going into the playoffs because if they attack the inside more, I mean, that's going to help them a lot late games. You won't see as many flame-out Game 7s because they're taking so many jumpers. But, yeah, great all-around production. PG, very efficient. Terrence Mann, I love watching him play. He
is a man.
He's a spark plug. He kind of just does it all. And they've gotten decent production out of Boogie. I don't know if they're going to keep him for the full season. But PG postgame was saying that that they'd like to use him against, the bigs of the West, like Jokic. And I went, PG, I don't think you're going to want to do that.
Watch it happen. I'm the
PG's front running a little bit. Talking again,
Oh, my Jesus Christ. All right. I don't have any comment on that. I think they're going to keep Boogie around just because him and Rondo are just soulmates at this point. But I don't know how much he can really contribute. I mean, they played the Blazers. I mean, Enes Kanter did have a bad game.
But there was no Nurk, so when Kanter came off, I don't know, because there's no Zach Collins. There's no – I don't even know who their backup 5 was.
But Kanter's not bad. So, I mean, he didn't play good. So, I mean, maybe
they had Rondé Hollis-Jefferson playing the 5, so.
Yeah. Josh, anything to add here as far as the Clippers-Blazers?
Man, CJ McCollum. Oh, man. CJ McCollum did a Los Angeles Clipper and probably took one too many jump shots toward the end of the game. But, man, if we watch him fall, we're talking a different game. So, I don't know. It's a good game, though. Both teams missing top guys. So.
Key players. Story of the season. Yikes.
Another good game from Melo. Oh, 5 for 18, actually. Holy hell. 18 points, though. 18 points.
Not a good game
18 on 18 sounds like my 2K stats.
As president of Norman Powell Hate Club, played a pretty good game this game, 50%.
20 shots.
I mean, he did what they needed to do, which was do the Gary Trent thing when Dame doesn't play. And just because when they have Dame, they're an embarrassment of riches on offense. Without him, they have CJ and Melo. And that's it. So they need someone to take those shots. Norm Powell's that guy.
How did they go from luxury to losing one guy and then being in shambles?
Because that one guy's Damian Lillard.
Oh, but Steph Curry's ahead of him in the MVP race.
What does this have to do with anything? It's Damian freaking Lillard.
It's Damian Lillard.
Top 5 point guard in the league. 3 to 5.
Are you saying the Warriors win without Steph?
They lost like 8 in a row when he missed the game.
The Warriors are worse off. They're 1-7 without him, 20-22 with him.
But George said that Steph was playing a lot. They've both missed games.
What do the Warriors have to do with this conversation?
And one of them is a higher seed.
The Blazers offense.
Okay, Josh. While infinite halftime, you found out who's played more games. Steph has missed 8. Find out how many games Dame has missed, please.
Are we moving to halftime now?
We are going to move to the halftime.
Okay.
Don't look at me like that, George, and your UCLA hoodie. I know it has sweat stains on it, but it's time for the halftime report halfway through the show, and George is the half hooper until he changes that musty hoodie. So I hear it's a pretty depressing halftime.
It's basically been the same story throughout the season with injuries.
So let me hear it.
Unfortunately, James Harden experienced a setback while conducting on-court rehab in Miami, which is kind of sus nonetheless because, he's the strip club guy. But anyway,
he never misses a trip to Miami.
He's going to be out indefinitely with his hamstring strain. And what I want to pose to Josh specifically, because I know he's the Harden stan, do you think they should keep him out the rest of the regular season and bring him back right when the playoffs start? Or what are you thinking? Because we don't know. So I'm going to leave it to you.
I want to hear Josh's thoughts on this. I will say this. The big 3, 7 games together.
They're not, yeah.
So if they keep Harden until playoffs, 7 games together.
7 games. What you thinking, Josh?
Okay, well, first of all, Dame's played more games than Steph, 52-50. So
2 games. It's 2 games. It's 2 games.
So don't matter. More games. See, if Steph played 2 more games than Dame, a completely different story. I am I'm a little concerned for two reasons. One, Lehman kind of took my point, is the big three haven't played. I'm not too much concerned about that because I know that they're all buddies, so it's not like a big concern. The second thing I'm more worried about is Harden. He is a tubby man, and I think that if they keep him out to the end of the regular season and put him in a playoff spot where he has to play potentially Miami, maybe even Indiana, even Charlotte, like Scary Terry's gonna like be running all over the place. Like they play like those guards that like to keep it moving. Harden's gonna be a little out of shape. I mean, he's been kind of out of shape, but Steve Nash was playing him like 40 to 45, and he looked relatively decent later on towards that stretch. I would try to ease him into it a little bit. Maybe do like a minutes restriction thing toward the end of the regular season, just so he's getting playing time, so he doesn't have to. It's like an instant switch for playoffs because there's not a lot of players that can really go from 0 to 100, and I don't think Harden's one of those players that can do that.
Interesting, Lehman. What you think?
I'm a little hung up on the playing him part because you're treating Harden like he's a big old baby. Because last few years it's been
like a big old baby.
Harden's too tired. He plays 40 every regular season. He runs out of gas in the playoffs. Oh no, he's not. That's the excuse. And now it's he didn't play enough in the regular season. Oh no, he's not conditioned enough. And
when did we say that?
The street said that. I don't think Josh. Josh didn't.
I've never said that he was too tired. He wore himself out in the regular season.
That's a pretty big narrative. That's not something I feel like I have to prove. That's been around forever.
I know a lot of people on Twitter have been kind of questioning because with KD being out and Kyrie taking his time off this here and there, they kind of said that the Nets ran him into the ground, but he's been playing like 38 minutes per game. He did it like 3 out of 4 seasons, I think, from 2015 to his MVP.
Well, so that's why I was worried about that. And I think this rest is good for him. I was saying, as far as Josh saying he needs like a few games, I say just bring him back right first game of the playoffs. I think he'll be ready, honestly.
I think you have to minutes restriction him, though. You can't just throw him out there 35 minutes.
Well, you can, but it's not going to be pretty.
I think you can if it's the first game. If you're going to play in any regular season game, minutes restriction him.
Okay.
But I think I think Harden is capable of we've seen him shapeshift. Like he's in better shape than we give him credit for. I think you throw him out there for 35 minutes in the first playoff game, he could give you a triple double.
He's like Shaq. Like it's not going to be a pretty triple double, but like just because of his talent, he's going to be able to.
You also got to realize who they might be playing first round. That bottom of the East is nothing. That bottom of the East is nothing.
Miami.
I saw you put that in the chat. Miami's out in 5 games against the Nets.
No, they're out in 5 for sure. They're out in 5 for sure. But
so I'm saying you could treat that series like a regular season game for Harden and start him there.
What if they go up 2-0? What if Miami goes up 2-0?
Well, then
you're in a pickle.
Then I eat crow. That's how it goes.
Well, yeah, Lehman has a point. He played himself into shape, especially when he went from Houston to Brooklyn. So he definitely has the only concerning thing is a hamstring is not something you want to go from 0 to 100 on. So you have to make sure he's like 100%.
It seems like anything below the waist. Pause. With George, you can't go 0 to 100 with. It's a serious
lower
injury.
Body expert.
You can't. But someone tears their. Jeez.
He's a male lower body expert. He's a male lower body expert.
Okay, we're moving on.
No.
This question.
Get a load of this guy.
This question is going to be for Lehman because he was excited when I sent it to him earlier. Grizzlies have bumped the long sideline Jaren Jackson Jr. This is from Mark Stein, by the way. Left knee meniscus surgery recovery from doubtful to questionable heading to their Wednesday matchup with the Clippers. So, Lehman, I want to know what his role is going to be like and how he's going to fit in because Brandon Clark has stepped up well in this time of absence, and I know you're excited. You're kind of you're like JJ Butter. You're a Memphis fan.
I'm big JJJ fan, big JJ Butter fan. Anything Jay. Speaking of Jay, Josh, has Brandon Clark been good in his absence? Because I know you don't like Brandon Clark. And George said that
you told me pre-pod. You said, "Oh, he's been doing good in the."
I see him and Brandon Clark play the same play style, so JJJ will fit in seamlessly.
Bamboozled, let us stray, run amok, and flat out.
Okay, don't say Brandon Clark and Jaren Jackson Jr. played the same play style. JJJ takes way more confident shots than Brandon Clark does.
I know, but they're still the same type of players. So
disappointing.
So they didn't have to change their play style. JJJ will slide in like a round peg in a round hole. I think that's a saying, right? That's a saying. But I'm super excited for JJJ. Hey, we heard nothing. This is what sucks about liking players on the Memphis Grizzlies. We heard nothing for like almost a year about JJJ, and then I just saw in like the injury report from out to doubtful, and then from doubtful to questionable.
He did notice it before it was like reported. It was just like Lehman said it, and then all of a sudden, a day later,
I'm a big JJJ guy. I love that guy. He's so good, and I've had a soft spot for him ever since. Like no one would go to the Grizzlies. Like no one would interview for me. He's like, sure, I'll go when they had the 4th pick, and I don't know. I've had a soft spot for him ever since. But I'm very excited to hear that JJJ is back on track, and I'm not a doctor, and the report's not out, but he should be back. A week or 2? I mean, if he's already up to questionable, next is probable, then he's back.
Then available. Oh, for sure. Is that all you got for this one?
I think I gave it my all.
Alrighty. Last one. Good news for the Hornets, as they are the 8th, I believe, right now. LaMelo Ball's fractured wrist has healed, and he's cleared to return to individual basketball activity. Yeah, already. He's a fast player, I guess. So he's going to, individual 1-on-1, 2-on-2, all the way to 5-on-5, non-contact or with contact. What I want to ask both of you guys, they're currently 8th, 4 games out of the 4th seed. Do you think they could get to that 4th seed by season's end? Lehman, we were talking about this before, so I'm going to start with you.
No, and if I could be quite honest, I think that top 6 is kind of set in the East. I don't know I think Boston will get up to the 4th spot just because they're on a roll. But every team, because we know the 1 through 3, it's Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. Those might switch, but it might stay the same. And then the next 4, Atlanta, New York, and Boston. New York on a 7-game win streak, and all 3 of those teams 8-2 in their last 10. I don't see a way they slip out because they are rolling, unless there's like a big, like maybe they play a bunch of contenders. One of them plays a bunch of contenders on their schedule, and they're just going to drop a few. But they're all 3 on rolls, and I mean Charlotte's good. They're well coached. Best announcer in the game, but Melo can only do so much, and I think just Melo coming back won't be enough. I think they need Hayward back. I think they need Rozier playing every game like he was the first half of the season. So I think that's kind of the main problem there.
Josh,
moving on to me. Okay, I was.
Well, George, you're host for this segment. You gotta lead him.
My bad. I got caught laughing.
I think more so how good the top the 4, 5, 6 is. All of them 8-2 in their last 10. Atlanta, New York, and Boston. It'll be very hard for them to get one of those spots, considering they are 3.5 or 2.5. I should say. Is that? I can't even count. 2.5 back from the Celtics. So I think they kind of stay in that play-in area. They might have a shot at getting to the playoffs, but the play-in is probably where they're going to be for the rest of the season.
Just want to say Hornets versus Heat would be a fun play-in. I don't know. Oh, maybe the Hornets. Maybe do I have to front run?
I'd take the Heat in that one.
It would be fun. Nonetheless, it'd be fun.
Oh, geez, we got a horny fan over here. Yeah.
Actually, no. Cody Zeller guarding Bam Adebayo.
Josh is going to come.
Put some respect on Cody Zeller
and say the Hornets.
Cody Zeller just fits for them for no reason, and it's my favorite thing in the world.
But yeah, good stuff. Hopefully, all these injuries sort themselves out by playoff time. We have 3 weeks?
Less than a month. So yeah,
we're getting there.
Lehman, you better schedule that first weekend off. You know what game 1 means.
Oh no.
I remember I watched game 1 at Josh's house last year, and I fell on the floor after we lost to the Blazers.
And he called Yusuf Nurkic a very mean name.
And then we went driving after.
Thank you, George. I started tearing up towards the end there. You're doing such a good job. But we're going to move on here to kind of the outro segment. Something that caught my eye. Kevin Durant went on he's doing a media tour. I don't know. I don't know when he gets hurt. He just starts doing interviews, and this might be in a podcast. I don't know, but he dropped his all-time roster
in 3 months.
And so I do believe I didn't watch I saw his roster. I didn't watch the actual quote of him saying it. I believe this was players he would want to play with to build his team around. So we'll give him that benefit of the doubt because if this is his all-time roster, I don't know about that, KD, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So his roster is LeBron at point, shout out LNU. Michael Jordan at shooting guard, Kobe at small forward, KD at power forward. He started himself. Yes, he did. Hakeem at center. And off the bench, we got Steph, Magic, T-Mac, Dirk, Shaq, Anthony Davis, and KG.
Hey, Disney.
So that was interesting, but it got me thinking, what about our all-time NBA rosters? I have mine, but I kind of wanted to see you two stay more focused and pit against each other. You guys don't know each other's teams, so I think this should be kind of fun. Who wants to start us off here? And give me your whole team, not just your start. I want your starters and then your bench as well. So who wants to start us off here?
George, would you like to start?
I guess this is going to be kind of disappointing. I know this is going to be funny, and everyone's going to be like, I think you just pick the top best players in history. Okay, so Steph at the 1, MJ at the 2, Bron at the 3, Duncan at the 4, Jokic at the 5, and then Magic, Kobe, Bird, Dirk, Hakeem on the bench, and then my last two reserves, Kevin Durant, the one who inspired this list, and Kyle Kuzma, because I am the Kyle Kuzma fan account on Twitter. Go follow.
Oh Jesus, that'd be like Christian Laettner when he made the Team USA
Dream Team. Yeah.
All right, Joshua.
All right. So I know George didn't name a coach, but in order to keep all these heads together, Steve Nash is my coach. So my starting 5 is Larry Bird at 1, Michael Jordan 2, Kawhi Leonard 3, LeBron 4, Shaq 5. And on my bench, I have Curry, T-Mac, KG, Magic Johnson, Kareem, and my 2 reserves are 06 Kobe and Carmelo Anthony, but the fat New York version.
So 2012, 2013. Yeah, let's go.
I want the tubby,
we don't body shame. Give the year.
2013 Carmelo Anthony.
All right.
Bigger Melo.
George, first thoughts on Josh's team.
So he kind of fooled me in the pregame. I thought he was just going to put just a bunch of meme players, but he actually has a good roster. I am concerned because I put Jokic at my starting 5 for the funnies, and he has Shaq. That's not going to be good on the defensive end. So,
but imagine Shaq chasing Jokic on the perimeter.
Jokic is going to do his
but what if Shaq's not fat?
You didn't specify.
I could put Garnett in there and guard Jokic. I'm not afraid of that. Garnett is going to call him every European slur in the book.
Josh, I don't think your mic cut out. I think I just zoned out. You have Steph and Magic on your bench. Who's your starting point guard?
Larry Bird.
Larry Bird at point guard.
Is this like
underrated floor general?
Larry Bird, where he says, "Which one of y'all getting second?"
The most underrated floor general in the history of the NBA. Playmaker. The man made Kevin McHale a Hall of Famer. Do not at me.
I mean, Lonzo Ball got TJ Leaf drafted in the first round, so I don't know. So, George, do you think your team could beat Josh's?
Yeah, I think my bench might be the determining factor here because his bench was a little bit interesting. Can you repeat it? I kind of zoned out on your bench.
Yeah, I have Steph, T-Mac, KG, Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Melo.
I thought
now he's thinking.
I thought your team was as good shooting. I thought there was a lot of perimeter.
This is a run and
my
gun
bench,
team.
Magic, Kobe, Bird, Dirk, Hakeem. There's a lot of playmaking, and you can also kind of go 5 out with Hakeem on the inside, and I don't know. There's shooting there. So
George wants to slow it down. My team, there is no
Josh has showtime.
I might as well have Mike D'Antoni coaching this team.
But my starting lineup. Imagine a Steph Jokic pick and roll. That's so funny.
Imagine a Larry Bird Shaq pick and roll, George.
Steph is going to get abused by Larry.
I put Larry Bird in there. I was thinking about putting Magic in there, but Larry has the shooting, and Larry's a bit taller and a lot more defensively sound than Steph Curry. So he kind of is he's not the best, but he's better shooter than Magic, and he's better defender and better defender than Steph.
By me putting Steph and Jokic in the starting 5, that they're kind of going to get lit up on defense, but I hope the pick and roll and the shooting with having Jordan and Bron on the opposing wings would kind of subsidize
I have Kawhi there for that reason.
Yeah, this would be
there.
A little bit interesting. This would be more interesting than I thought.
Number one defender of all time.
Josh okay, number 1. Whoa, okay.
Ooh, sheesh.
Where's Scotty? But anyways,
number 2.
I got Kyle Kuzma to be the Kyle Kuzma and KD, 2 great personalities to have on your bench, right? I mean, chemistry is going up. But I it's close. I think I might favor Josh. He did a lot better than I thought, actually. That my starting lineup,
underwhelming.
I literally thought you were just gonna put like
He's blushing.
I am.
No, but my starting lineup might get a little bit blitzed defensively. But I think my bench would prevail. Like they'd be able to hold the lead down if my starting lineup exited with a lead.
Well, so I think the defense is the problem with you, George, but I think it's not the fact of what you did. I think you have fine defensive pieces around him. Jokic that's a little bit tough to man the paint when Steph Curry's your point guard as well.
I know that's the problem.
But I think you would have survived if Josh put an actual point guard there instead of 6'10" Larry Bird, because there's nowhere to hide Steph. You can't hide. You got to play a zone, and it's probably just a box, and you have Steph Curry just kind of like stand there. It's just a box because like
depends,
you can't.
Though, does Shaq guard the drop coverage? Because Jokic will punish him every time.
It's early. It's when Shaq cared, man.
It's athletic Shaq. Like he'll switch on the perimeter.
Okay, Josh, give me a year because you're kind of splicing Shaq.
It's just
Shaq
like
Shaq couldn't guard the perimeter and beast in the paint. You either got to pick the Magic Shaq that could guard the perimeter or beast in the paint Shaq.
I'm gonna go free agent Shaq between Magic and LA, right there.
Well, I thought you meant between like Cleveland and Boston. I was like, that guy's not guarding anyone. But I mean, I take Georgia's squad. I take Georgia's.
Wow.
I just think it's a little bit better. I know you're hyping up Larry to be like he's an underrated floor general. I do think Braun at point would have been a better move. And I know you talked about that, and you didn't want to do that because it's just too obvious. But sometimes it's the best move.
Well, my only issue was I thought George was gonna start and put like a stretch at the 4. So if I knew George's team a little bit better, I probably would put Braun at 1 and put Garnett at 4.
Well, yeah, if I knew your team before, I'd have counters too, Josh. But that's not.
Well, the series is going 7 no matter what because your benches are deep enough to flex different rotations and stuff like that.
Anything happens in a game 7.
I'll name mine, then we'll get the hell out of here. You have to look ahead. Okay. Steph, MJ, Braun, Timmy D, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Bird, Dirk, Hakeem. So you can kind of swap the starting and bench. When you need your reserves in, and then the 2 wildcard spots. I got KG for trash talking. Obviously, plus a decent player too, and then Ron Artest in case there's a fight. It was either him or James Johnson, but I need to have one of those guys on there. But I think I don't know. Mine's kind of boring. I would probably take George's over Josh's, but
let's go.
George, if there's enough injuries, you're playing Kyle Kuzma heavy minutes, and Josh has 06 Kobe as his reserve. So imagine there's like 7 injuries. Kuzma's guarding Fat Mello. Green.
He's having that Easter performance every time he comes down the court.
We're gonna go on 2K and play that matchup after this.
Fat Mello versus Kuz.
65 at minimum.
All right, George, do you have the look ahead?
I have a few, so I can.
Thank God he has a few.
I can wait in this sense.
I'll take the first if nobody wants to take it.
I don't want it.
Okay, so I'll go first. This is my favorite matchup of the year, the wonderful time where
I'm glad I didn't take it.
The Sixers take on the Bucks Thursday at 4:00. It's in Milwaukee, but I don't know that it doesn't really make a difference with the.
Should I go?
Fans. I don't. We'll see how long Bud plays Giannis at the center, and we'll see how much Joel Embiid.
Giannis on Embiid minutes, please.
Yeah, I really want to see that matchup, and it'll be interesting where they put Drew Holiday because Ben Simmons isn't really like the scoring guard, and hopefully everybody's back for Philly. I'm not entirely sure, but we will see.
At the second end of a back-to-back too, so we'll see what they do on Wednesday with minutes and such.
All right, did you say you got a few? You want me to go?
Yeah, you can go, and I'll finish it off.
All right, we got Wizards and Warriors playing on Wednesday.
Interesting.
Warriors 6-4 in their last 10, but more importantly, Steph's been on a tear, kind of keeping them alive in this playoff hunt. Wizards on a 5-game win streak, creeping up on that 10 seed. So honestly a must-win for both these teams. Every game's must-win when you're trying to get in the play-in spot, because you don't want to miss the playoffs when there's 10 teams.
Exactly.
Wizards I'm a big Wizards guy. No Georgia's too, but they got something to prove. Good win against Utah to start this 5-game win streak. Then they had Sacramento, the Pelicans, Detroit Pistons, and Oklahoma City Thunder. So 4 gimmies there. You should win. And the Wizards have a chance to rattle off a lot here. They get Golden State, which might look ahead. Then OKC, Cleveland, San Antonio, probably a banged up Lakers team still, and then Cleveland again. And they could really, really make this run. And then end of the season, stuff. So Wizards, they got to get these wins now.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
George,
so
look ahead.
I'm gonna go with the homer pick here, and I really, really hope this ends up working out because AD is reported to come back against the Mavericks on Thursday,
God.
and now if he doesn't, this is gonna look really, really bad. But I'm gonna bank.
What if they win though?
I'm gonna bank on him playing. If he does, 15 minutes restriction, so you'll have to see how they integrate him. And against Luka, who doesn't like watching Luka and his magic. So let's hope AD comes back. Or
Disney versus Porzingis.
Porzingis has been getting eaten alive, so I think AD on one Achilles could probably drop 30.
Disney on whatever. Anyways,
Porzingis does that work?
I was gonna say like fraud taps Porzingis.
Ah, Jesus Christ! All right, that's gonna do it for tonight's episode. Thanks for listening or watching. If you're still here, Jake, thank you for becoming a new listener. Gold star for you. Follow us at THHoopers, Instagram and Twitter. Say what's up. I guarantee you get a response. George is never caught lacking without his phone. He's back on Twitter, guys. He's back on Twitter on the THHoopers account.
Only lacks when we have to start it.
I know, exactly. But besides that, thanks for listening, guys. As always, thanks for being an OG.